In the 4th century BC, Aristotle watched Greek sailors turn seawater drinkable using sunlight and a clay vessel. The physics is so simple a child could build one. A $50 box of glass, wood, and dark paint produces pure distilled water with zero electricity and zero cost. Arab alchemists perfected this 12 centuries ago. And by the end of this video, you will discover exactly why this technology was erased from modern society and how to build one yourself. Hi, I am Greg, and welcome to Building Grounds. Subscribe and hit the bell for more uncovering building secrets they never taught you. Aristotle did not theorize about turning ocean water fresh. He documented it as measured fact. In his work Meteorology, written around 350 BC, he recorded that salt water, when it turns into vapor, becomes sweet, and that the vapor does not form salt water when it condenses again. Greek sailors across the Aegean were practicing this aboard wooden ships. They boiled seawater in clay pots and collected the steam on cool surfaces above. The condensed water was fresh, drinkable, free of salt. By the 1st century AD, Roman sailors had refined the technique. They used clay filters to trap dissolved minerals and squeezed condensation from sponges held over boiling pots of seawater. This was not a laboratory curiosity. It was a survival tool deployed across naval fleets for centuries. But it was not the Greeks who perfected this science. That happened 1,000 miles to the east. In the 8th century, Arab chemists produced the first scientific treatises on desalination. The alchemist Jabir ibn Hayyan, known as Geber, developed the alembic still in the laboratories of Baghdad. This distillation apparatus would define chemical engineering for the next 500 years. Across the Islamic world, from Damascus to Cairo and Cordoba, researchers refined the physics of evaporation and condensation into a scalable science. By the 15th century, Arab engineers in the deserts of the Middle East were using polished concave mirrors forged from Damascus steel to focus solar radiation onto glass vessels filled with salt water. The French scientist Augustin Mouchot documented these solar distillation techniques centuries later and confirmed their effectiveness. The knowledge of distillation, like so many sciences of the ancient world, reached Europe through Arab scholarship. It arrived fully formed and battle-tested. Then, during the Renaissance, a single book proved this physics could work at any scale. In 1558, an Italian polymath named Giovanni Battista della Porta published Magiae Naturalis in Naples. The volume dedicated to distillation described 7 methods of turning seawater into drinking water. Della Porta documented the principle that remains the foundation of every solar still built. Humid air condenses on cold surfaces. Glass placed at an angle above heated salt water collects pure fresh water on its underside. Droplets form and slide down the slope into a collection channel. Salt and every contaminant stay behind in the basin. Centuries later, Thomas Jefferson promoted these desalination approaches in the newly formed United States. 3 continents, 24 centuries of civilization. Every culture that encountered hot climates and salt water arrived independently at the same solution, and then someone proved it could power an industrial operation. What happened after that changes everything. In 1872, a Swedish engineer named Carlos Wilson stood in the Atacama Desert of northern Chile facing an impossible problem. The nitrate mines at Las Salinas needed fresh water for the animals hauling ore. There was none for miles, only blistering sun and cracked earth. So Wilson built something extraordinary. He constructed 64 wooden basins painted black on the inside and covered each one with sloping sheets of glass. The total surface area stretched across 4,700 square meters, nearly an acre of glass shimmering under the desert sun. The physics were ancient, the scale was unprecedented. Sunlight passed through the glass and struck the dark basins filled with salt water. The water evaporated, vapor rose and condensed on the cooler glass surface above. Droplets slid down the angled panes into collection troughs running along the edges. Pure water flowed out the other end. No electricity, no filters, no pumps, no moving parts. On a summer day, Wilson's plant produced over 23,000 liters. It ran for 40 years until the mines were exhausted. For a century, it remained the largest solar distillation installation ever built. 23,000 liters a day, from wood and glass and sunlight for 4 decades. That was 1872. 70 years later, the same technology would save thousands of lives during a world war. In 1939, a Hungarian-born physicist named Maria Telkes arrived at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to research applications of solar energy. When the Second World War erupted, the United States military came to her lab at MIT with an urgent problem. Pilots shot down over the Pacific Ocean, and sailors aboard torpedoed ships were dying of thirst, surrounded by water they could not drink. Telkes designed an inflatable solar still compact enough to fit inside a life raft emergency kit. The device used the same physics Aristotle described: sunlight-heated salt water inside a sealed chamber, vapor condensed on a cooler surface, fresh water collected in a reservoir below. Each still produced roughly 1 quart of drinking water per day, enough to keep a soldier alive until rescue. The military deployed her invention across the Pacific theater. It became standard issue in emergency medical kits on life rafts throughout the United States Navy and Army Air Forces. In 1945, Telkes received the Office of Scientific Research and Development Certificate of Merit for the desalination unit. She was granted a patent in 1968. Scientists and historians called her the Sun Queen. Think about that. The United States military trusted this technology with soldiers' lives. MIT validated it in their laboratories. A 40-year industrial plant in the Chilean desert proved it worked at massive scale, and then it vanished from public knowledge. To understand why, you need to see how simple the physics is, because once you grasp that simplicity, the cover-up becomes impossible to ignore. A solar still replicates the way nature makes rain. Sunlight passes through a pane of glass and strikes a shallow basin of water painted matte black on the inside. The black surface absorbs energy and heats the water. The water evaporates. Vapor rises and meets the cooler underside of the glass above. It condenses into tiny droplets. Those droplets slide down the angled glass and drip into a collection trough at the bottom edge. Salt, bacteria, heavy metals, and every contaminant remain behind in the basin. What flows into your collection vessel is pure distilled water. Engineering studies have confirmed that angling the glass lid at 30 degrees captures the most condensation. The optimal water depth in the basin is roughly 25 millimeters, too deep, and the thermal mass absorbs energy that should be going toward evaporation. Too shallow, and the basin runs dry by mid-afternoon. Research shows that a solar collector measuring 2 square meters can distill between 40 and 60 liters per day from any water source. Modified designs using wicking fabric and reflective panels have pushed productivity above 9 liters per square meter per day. The cost per liter comes to roughly 4 cents. The materials are available at any hardware store: a sheet of glass, plywood, or concrete for the basin, matte black paint, food-grade silicone sealant, and PVC pipe for the collection channel. Total cost for a household unit sits between $30 and $50, depending on what you already have. 40 to 60 liters a day from 2 square meters of glass at under 4 cents per liter. Hold those numbers in your mind. When you compare them to what the desalination and bottled water industries charge you, the reason this was buried becomes painfully obvious. The global bottled water market was valued at $451 billion in 2025. In the United States alone, consumers spent over $47 billion on bottled water in 2024. Americans consumed nearly 16 billion gallons that same year, according to industry surveys. A single bottle costs $1 to $3. A $50 solar still produces the same purity of water for under 4 cents per liter. The markup is not just profitable, it is obscene. Every solar still a family builds is a lifetime of bottled water purchases that never happen. Imagine executives in glass towers watching that math spread across the internet. Then there is the desalination industrial complex. The global market for desalination technology was valued at $27.8 billion in 2025 and is projected to nearly double to $60 billion by 2034. Modern reverse osmosis plants require enormous capital investment, continuous electricity, chemical treatment, membrane replacement, and specialized maintenance. Teams of engineers, warehouses of parts, service contracts stretching decades. A solar still requires none of this. Not a single watt of grid power, not a single replacement filter, not a single maintenance contract, and the regulatory wall ensures you never find out. Building codes across the United States assume all water treatment happens through approved mechanical systems. Plumbing codes require potable water to originate from municipal supply, tested private wells, or certified treatment equipment. A solar still, no matter how pure its output, does not fit the template. There is no compliance pathway, no inspection checklist, no approval mechanism. Inspectors shake their heads because their training never mentioned it. The Safe Drinking Water Act grants the EPA authority over municipal water and the FDA authority over commercially bottled water. Solar distilled water at the household level falls into a regulatory void that no agency has any interest in filling. The pattern is unmistakable. Hundreds of billions in bottled water revenue protected, tens of billions in desalination equipment sales preserved. Lobbyists walking government hallways in Washington and state capitals ensuring the simplest water purification method ever devised has no legal pathway to your kitchen tap. A $50 box of glass and wood threatens an industry that depends entirely on your belief that clean water must be complex and expensive. The codes are written against you. The industries profit from what you do not know, but here is what no regulation can change. The sun still rises every morning, and building a solar still costs less than a single week of buying bottled water. The glazing is a single pane of tempered glass angled at 30 degrees over the basin. Seal it to the frame with food-grade silicone. The glass must be smooth and perfectly clean because condensation quality depends entirely on surface condition. Mineral buildup will destroy your efficiency faster than any other factor. Run a collection trough of food-grade PVC or aluminum channel along the low edge of the glass. Give it a gentle slope so condensate flows by gravity into a sealed storage container. No pumps, no electricity, no moving parts whatsoever. Fill the basin with salt water or any contaminated water source to a depth of roughly 25 millimeters. Sunlight handles the rest. Expect 3 to 5 liters per square meter per day from this basic passive design under full sun. Enhanced versions using wicking fabric draped across the basin floor, external reflectors to concentrate additional sunlight, or double basin configurations will push output significantly higher. Maintenance is nearly non-existent. Wipe the glass interior weekly to prevent mineral film from forming. Flush the basin monthly to clear accumulated salt. Replace silicone seals every 3 to 5 years. The glass and wood last decades. The earth and sun last considerably longer than that. The water that drips from the glass tests at zero total dissolved solids. That exceeds both EPA and FDA purity standards for drinking water. If you prefer the taste of mineralized water, simply add a small pinch of mineral salt per liter to restore trace elements. That is the entire system. Glass, wood, dark paint, sunlight, the same physics Aristotle described watching Greek sailors practice 2,400 years ago. The same principle that powered Carlos Wilson's industrial plant at Las Salinas for 40 consecutive years in the Chilean desert. The same technology Maria Telkes miniaturized at NYT to save American soldiers dying of thirst on the open Pacific Ocean. The sun deposits approximately 1 kilowatt of energy per square meter onto the surface of this planet during every hour of peak daylight. It has done so for 4.5 billion years. It will continue doing so long after every bottled water brand has been forgotten and every desalination contract has expired. Aristotle saw it. The Arab alchemists refined it. Della Porta documented it for all of Europe. Carlos Wilson industrialized it in the driest desert on Earth. Maria Telkes proved it could save lives on the open ocean, and a $451 billion industry spent a century making absolutely sure you never learned any of their names. The knowledge survived because physics does not care about market share or regulatory capture or lobbying budgets. Evaporation works. Condensation works. They work whether or not a code official has signed a permit. Seawater covers 71% of this planet. The sun has been waiting to purify it since long before humans walked the earth. Now you know exactly how to let it. If this changed how you think about construction, subscribe to Building Grounds with Greg. Please watch the next video appearing on your screen right now.